Hello, literature lovers. Today I am going to discuss speech act theory, and it is something expressed by an individual that not only presents information but performs an action as well. And you can see by an example that I would like the kimchi, could you please pass it on? So it is considered a speech act as it is expressed the speaker's desire to acquire anything, an object, as well as presenting request that someone pass the object to them. Now there are very theories, moreover it was stated by J.L. Austin. This name you have to remember. Now talking about the term speech act and allocutionary act, they are interchangeable. This is a complex thing. I am just trying to give an positive aspect. Now starting from the very beginning, we can say that history of the positivist philosophy of language, it is based on language, as there was viewed primarily as a way of making factual assertions, and other uses of language tended to be ignored, as Austin stated at the beginning of the lecture that it was too long. The assumption of philosophers that business of a statement can only be describe some state of affairs or to state some act which it must do either truly or falsely. Now this is the book that J.L. Austin, the British philosopher, talks about how to do things with words. It's really concentrated on language, how it should be done, and talks about it. And this work led philosophers to pay more attention to the non-declarative uses of language, the uses which are not so declarative. And then J.L. Austin introduced the notions of locutionary act, illocutionary act, and perlocutionary act occupied an important role in what was then to become the speech study of speech acts. So a separate study, there are a lot of facts related to it, and I will try to summarize it, somehow explain to it, and the written work will definitely help you in a better position. All these are three acts, but especially the illocutionary act are nowadays commonly classified as speech acts. This one is very important. Austin was by no means the first one to deal with what one calls speech acts in a wider sense. The term social act or some of the theories of this type of linguistic action are to be found in the fifth of Thomas Reid's essays on the active powers of human mind. There are other authors also, and the term speech act has also been used by Karl Buller. But the term meta-locutionary act has also been used to indicate a speech act that refers to the form and functions of the discourse itself rather than continuing the substantive development of the discourse or to configurational function of prosody and punctuation. And this is the bifurcation talking about the performative and constitutive. You can read it clearly. Now there are explicit and implicit performatives. This is a bit different study, and these type of bifurcation needed to be talked about, since it talks about the action, how the speech can be used with the indirect one. And then comes the three major things that J.L. Austin majorly talked about. This is what the bifurcation is. These are the definitions related to it, and the felicity conditions are provided here. It's all based on the language research and it's part of deep linguistics, and it is asked, it's quite now common to understand it. It's very important. although it's a deep, and we can say that one does not need to say words like apologize or pledge or praise in order to show what their action are doing. This is the main thing that talks about that all the examples of action are indirect and making something happen rather than coming out straightforward without a specific word or saying. So it is an act of using the language in a correct manner. I hope you will read the points and then try to understand it. You can pause it in between, and the classification is also given here of the speech acts that will help you. Not forget, J. Austin is something that he started the classification, and his one is much more elaborated of the speech acts being talked about. That's all for today. I hope you must have got an overall idea. Thanks for listening.